literally the first week I started working for this firm, I worked on not a helipad, but a pad for a flying car.
Welcome to the I Had an Idea podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Here is how it works. You listen, we talk. I know you're busy and you don't owe us your time. We're going to keep things really short, no fluff.
Oh,
We're in the red zone.
Time's up. Next subject.
Joining me, your host, Trent Thompson, are people who not only have ideas, but do them, because the value of an idea lies in the using of it. We start with a segment called Brag, aka Give Yourself Flowers, aka Talk Your Shit, aka Who Even Are You? The guest has a chance to write down their own intro and convince you why the rest of this is worth listening to. If you want to support, I partnered up with Sudhi to make the I Had an Idea notebook, so when you have an idea of your own, you don't forget to write it down. Welcome to the podcast.
A drum roll, please. Whoa! Now that's what I call it.
an idea.
Joining me today on set, I have Taylor Smalls. Taylor was born in Alaska. She's a military baby. She is the favorite daughter. She is a younger sister. She is a New Mexican. Don't know what that means. I can't wait to find out. Should I know what that means?
You should.
A New Mexican?
Yeah, from New Mexico.
Whoa, we're running it back. I just read it wrong. Woo! Let's run it back. I can't leave that in.
Can we please keep that in?
Sure. Okay.
I would love to.
She is a New Mexican. I read it like you just became a Mexican. 2nd degree black belt in karate, an architectural designer, a painter, a creative director. She's a little sweaty, and she's looking forward to sharing her ideas.
It's true. All
Well,
of that's true.
We started off with me putting my foot in my mouth. That was fun. Taylor, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
To give you a little context on how this is going to go. So we're going to talk about some ideas you've had, some ideas that maybe didn't go so good, and some ideas you're working on now. We're going to try and do this in 3 5-minute segments.
Okay.
When we hit that magic 5-minute marker, this light is going to turn red, and we're going to hear this awful alarm sound. There it is, and that's how we know it's kind of time to move on.
Thank you for giving me
We're going to keep it
premature
brief.
anxiety.
Okay. It's an honor to be sitting here with my New Mexican friend, and let's jump into it. Taylor, tell the people listening an idea that you're proud of.
Okay. An idea that I'm proud of. It was actually like a really, really early one. When I was younger, we'll say teens, had an idea to become an architect. And that was absolutely something that I just, from probably freshman year of high school, I just like leaned into. I got really obsessed with my dad showing me, SketchUp from a young age and CAD, and like my parents just being really into us designing our own rooms and spaces and all of that. And home, as I said, or as you said, I'm a military baby, and so home is really, really important to me because I didn't really have a solid one for all of my life. And so leaning into becoming an architect, and specifically like a residential architecture, or going into architecture for residential spaces, was all I wanted to do. And I did that.
That was a journey, I'm sure.
Yes, it was. Obviously, I moved from New Mexico to San Francisco and went to USF and studied architecture and went into high-end residential straight out of college. And it was the best idea for me because it really kind of married like my love of art and design with like something to me at that time was very pragmatic and practical, and like I wouldn't, be stressed, I suppose, in the world, like trying to be a full-time artist, which I am now, and not stressed, but but that was, that initial idea.
You said you're inspired by watching your dad. What does your dad do?
So my dad, he's been a contractor for forever, but he's a builder, and he is also an artist. He's a woodworker. Okay. And so I was watching him build all of the time and like work in these programs that, were just like, it was just playtime for me, right. Working on the computer. My dad is like he has probably 6 different man dens in his home that are all dedicated to different forms of art and creation. And the computer zone, the computer lab was like my love, because I got to work in these programs
In
and
your
make spaces.
in your professional setting as an architect, were you ever able to collaborate with your father? Have you guys done any projects together?
We are now.
Okay, tell me about
yeah,
that.
I actually just purchased land not a couple years ago, it's about a year and a half ago, in New Mexico. That's very close to both
I
of
know
my
all about New
parents.
Mexico.
You do.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's, my dad just retired last year, and my mom, I want to make her retire soon. And so have this like whole family, including my brother, have everybody and their talents like really feed into this property and the development of it. And he's project manager on it essentially. And yeah, so that's coming and it's been in the works. And that's what's
Amazing.
being developed.
Yeah, I guess we transitioned this into a what she's excited about segment. So moving it back towards,
Yeah.
you becoming an architect, how much schooling did you have to do that?
So I did 4 years.
Okay.
USF is unaccredited, but when it comes down to it, you don't really need to go to a fully accredited architectural program to get into, amazing firms. And I was with the best firm in San Francisco, Arcanum Architecture, and was there for 6+ years and
cool.
loved it. Yeah.
To dive into the weeds of that, can you tell me about a project or two that you're really excited about that you got to work on?
That I got
In
to
that
work
time?
on
Yeah.
in that time.
In that 6
Oh
years.
my gosh. Well, I always come back to this first project, like literally the first week I started working for this firm. I worked on not a helipad at a home, but a pad for a flying car.
Whoa.
And you have to understand, like, I was working for a firm that was doing really, really, really upper echelon high-end residential. And
Okay.
so we're in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And these people, the clients, are, they know what's coming.
Right.
Essentially. And I don't know if they're just, like, playing with stuff, but like playing with their money or what it is, or if they actually know what's coming. But that was the first project, the first week I ever worked on at that firm, was to basically work on this garage that had the infrastructure like for
The flying car.
a car to land on top of the roof.
So I'm going to ask this one question before we move on. Was
Yeah.
it like a typical garage and the roof just came off for the flying car to then be able to go in?
No. So picture actually just like a really, really, really solid foundation, like roof.
Like a helipad.
Yes. And like the rotating car underground situation.
I have a helipad at my house.
So
Well,
do
I
I.
might need to, have you come
Same.
over and figure out how to put our flying car in.
Oh, happily.
Okay, cool. So we're going to respect the red light now and move on to something that maybe you're less proud of, or a fail forward, or
Yeah.
something that you learned. You can say it however you want, but let's talk about something that didn't go how you expected it to.
Sure. An idea I had that didn't really go the way I wanted was, this is kind of like broad, like higher, is just saying yes to too many things all at once. After George Floyd's murder, I was approached by 2 amazing gallerists and good friends of mine who wanted to do kind of consecutive shows with me. And I was just so excited about, honestly, I think a lot of Black artists in the Bay can, relate to this, but there was a flood of attention to Black artists during that time. And I so appreciate like that lean into my work. But during that time, I was just like, yes. We were
Right.
all at home. I was working from home. I was in my studio. I have a live work studio. And so I was just like, oh, I can paint all day and also do my architectural work and all of that. And so I just said yes to multiple shows back to back with very little gap in between. And I can genuinely say that saying yes to everything just because it's coming at you all at once is not the move. Because I was not able to create work that I was super proud of in that second show that is out in the world. And, just overextension is a terrible idea.
Okay. A little backstory. Have you always been painting and posting your art and pursuing your fine art as a side hustle while you're doing the architecture? Or was there a hard split between I'm an architect, now I'm an artist?
Yeah, so I've been painting since high school.
Okay.
So on the side doing, shows here and there at like breweries in the city, at community spaces in the city, at, just where I could. It was always exciting to just put a couple pieces up. But it wasn't until, basically post-pandemic, a month or two into whatever post-pandemic means.
Whatever you consider that.
Whatever you consider that. But basically when people were going back into office, that was the hard line split into just going into
You decided just not to go back
practice.
to the office?
Well, I tried.
Okay.
I tried, and they were really wonderful, being flexible with me, how much I was working from home and working in office. And I just realized after about a month, I was like, man, I need to be doing what I want for myself at this point.
So with the lesson learned about the overextension, how do you decide what you say yes to and what you say no to for you personally?
For me personally, it's like picture a project, how much time it's going to take, double that.
Okay.
And don't commit to anything else in that time.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of just like a rule of thumb at this point.
Are you someone who you're okay with not being really busy? Like if you have a period of slowness, are you okay with that? Or does that make you start needing to go do something?
Does it make me anxious? No, I don't think so. I think I want to be working all the time, but I think that rest is really important too. And I love to rest. And like it's not like a point of anxiety. It's just like time to kind of gather thoughts and like honestly do research into things that I want to move into next and have conversations with friends that around those. And it's not a point of stress. I think
Gotcha.
It's a privilege.
So I'm going to beat the red light on this one because I know what Taylor really wants to talk about and what I really want you guys to hear about is the thing that she's working on now, which I'm going to give a very brief intro to, which is this event series called Throughline, which is an opportunity or an idea Taylor is very much saying yes to that you should all be following along for. Taylor, give us a little taste of what Throughline is going to be.
Yeah. So Throughline is... it's basically like my love child right now. It's a multi-sensory art experience that is highlighting 12 women in Oakland, specifically 12 Black female pillars, who are just from all different backgrounds, basically. It's from, people in fashion, people in wine, people in education, people in food, all of these women who like are not at the forefront, like raising their hands saying like, everybody look at me, look at me, look at me. But people who like truly deserve their flowers. And I paint, large scale female portraiture. And so I wanted to be very intentional about who I was painting during this time, especially as the first series coming, out of architecture. And really putting on Oakland and women in Oakland. So that's one aspect of Throughline, but the other aspect is that the whole concept is kind of showing a progression through multi-mediums. And just like the intersectionality through like a bunch of different mediums. So working with Brandon Ruffin, who's an incredible photographer. He's shooting all of the women in my studio. I'm then painting those women. And then those pieces go to a poet, Sir Michael Wayne Turner III. And he is writing a piece on all of those paintings that then goes to Mara Harubi, who is an amazing, amazing vocalist, who's going to be singing on them. And then lastly, there's Last Supper Society, who is the duo is just incredible. They're a culinary like duo, and so there's going to be a food element to the entire show as well. That basically each of the women are going to be honored in a different bite at a big dinner. So it's like dinner and a show, but times 1,000.
I cannot wait to come to Throughline. I know there's going to be multiple events.
Yes.
Is each event going to be a little bit different than the next one?
Yes.
And talk me through the series. Maybe it's not perfectly fleshed out yet.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Talk me through the idea to have these different experiences. And does someone sign up for all of them, or how does that work?
No, not quite. So there are a couple private events, and there's like obviously like an opening for more private events as well. So there are a couple private dinners, and then there are also going to be, there's going to be the grand opening, which is on the 3rd of November, which is open to the public, and everybody come one, come all to that.
November 3rd, mark your calendars.
Yes, please. But, the 4th, 5th, 11th, and 12th are going to be ticketed events where it's ostensibly bites that are made by LSS based off of the women, paired with a full performance from Michael and Mara. So both the poet and the musician.
This is just the date night of all date nights.
Yeah,
This sounds
it is.
so amazing.
It is. And it's going to be paired with cocktails. LVMH is part of this, and so they're going to be doing some specialty stuff, and it's just going to be a really beautiful experience.
How long have you been working on this idea?
Ooh, probably about a year and change, like a year and a couple months. Came up with the idea actually with our good friend Sorrel, and just sat down. I was like, I really want to do a show that's outside of the typical gallery structure, for many different mediums. So, out of gallery is for me, out of theater is for Michael, out of typical venue, like performance space for Mara. And let's just all come together and activate an unused space in Oakland, because there are too many of those. And so, we just...
I think you're going to see a lot of people duplicating your framework.
I hope so.
Not necessarily like, obviously it's going to have a different flavor to it, but just this idea of doing taste and smell and hearing and visual. Like, I'm really excited to see, obviously, your Throughline, and then also the ideas that grow from this. I think it's an incredible frame, to do a show, and I can't wait to see it. So everybody mark your calendars for November 3rd.
Yeah.
I think we're doing great on time.
I do too. I'm not getting blasted by this red light,
we haven't heard the red.
I'm very happy about that.
I am going to do, before you tell people where they can find you and all of that, we're going to do a surprise segment. I'm improvising these before the episode. I think this one will go good for you. Dramatic lighting. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a business, and we're going to pretend like I have $1 million to give you for this business, and you are going to pitch it to me and tell me how you're going to do it.
Okay.
So the business I want you to do is going to be a rotating staging company where you're going to have a catalog of artists and pieces, and staging companies, high-end residential staging companies, are going to hit you up, and they're going to be like, we need something amazing for here, and we show our art.
Yeah.
How's it going to work? How's it going to make money? Who are the artists going to be? And tell me why you need the $1 million.
Okay.
And let's give her a minute and a half, Kim.
To think or speak?
To speak.
Okay, here we go.
Business plan is done. You're on the spot.
All right, on the spot. All right. Well, I would definitely say that you just have to have as an artist, you have to have your structure, your percentages, and a rental period. I've already done this in real life though. So basically I think, and also just people should run with this and do it right now. Literally go to a staging company and do this, but you can put up your work as an artist and basically take the entirety of the piece, the full retail value of it, of whatever you would say it is, rent them quarterly for 25% of the piece, if they get to the end of the year, then they own the piece. It's in their private collection to continue to use in, other spaces, or that piece can sell in the meantime or sell to the house, and they have to, purchase it for full price.
I love it. It's an idea that I think is really good that
Yeah.
has been swimming in my head for a
Yeah.
while, and I'm sure other
Keep
artists'
doing it.
heads as well. I think it's a really good one. I'd give you the $1 million. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Before we leave, tell the people where they can find you,
Yeah.
what you want them to sign up for, what email subscriptions they should be hopping on,
Definitely.
all that.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you're interested in the show for now, you can just message me through my website, which is just my name. It's taylorsmalls.com. Or you can just hit me up through Instagram, which is taylor.smalls. And those are basically my two main platforms. I don't really mess with anything else.
Amazing. And we'll put the links in the description.
Yeah.
Wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah.
Taylor, it's been awesome.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Trent.
Drum roll, please. Whoa! Now that's what I call it.
An idea.
This song was brought to you by my friend Shido, aka Terrion Smith, aka Shogun Shido, aka DJ Jambalaya.